Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more rifle testing, and today we've got another really interesting kind of old school combination to run with some quite a bit newer, a little more modern, fancier type of ammunition to put through it, but this should be a rather interesting combination of stuff either way. We've got a rifle that has a pretty long history to it. It's been through a bunch of stuff in its lifetime, but for how worn out it is, it actually tends to shoot pretty good. It's been a while since we've had it out here, but I definitely like shooting it, and I just happened to stumble across some of this ammo the other day on an antique store shelf actually, even though it's not antique ammunition. So I had to pick some up for how cheap they were and bring them out here and test them and see what we could get, because this could make for a really fun kind of close to mid-range deer hunting combination. But first, we'll take a look at the rifle we're running, that being this old guy. This is a 1907 Lee Enfield SHTLE Mark I Star that's been restamped over top of several different times. It's now technically a Mark I Triple Star, I guess. It's got markings stamped all over it, and it's been sporterized not very nicely either. It's still got its full-length original barrel to it, but the stock has been absolutely hacked up. You can see a bunch of wood fill marks all through here. The volley sight that it had on the front has been removed and chopped off halfway. You've got a bunch of finished runs and stuff down the bottom, another plug hole there, and the stock has been completely ground down and sanded to where you can't see what unit or anything it came from off of the medallion. Another wood fill on the bottom. So although this isn't super pretty, it is 120 years old, or close to it anyway. And when I said earlier that it was worn out, I pretty much mean it. It's at the top of its headspace, and the last probably quarter inch of barrel has pretty much no rifling left in it whatsoever, but the thing still shoots just fine for what it is. It's not a precision rig, but it's a fun little gun to shoot, and if you can get 50-60 yard accuracy out of it, the size of a baseball or less, then really who's to complain about this at this point? So very interesting rifle, classic 303 British, so we'll see how it does with today's ammunition, since it may or may not like it. But for the ammo we're running, I stumbled across some of this Hornady Custom stuff at a booth at an antique shop the other day. This is a 303 150 grain InterLock bullet, and it says 2685 for a muzzle velocity there. So typically this would be a pretty good load, although sometimes those older, more worn out Enfields can prefer different bullet profiles more than others, and especially different bullet weights. That one usually isn't too picky, but it tends to prefer 180 grain a little more. So we'll see how these do, since these would make for a fantastic deer hunting load, if they're actually halfway decently accurate from it. So as for our test today, we're going to run it kind of the same as we usually do, except a few different ranges and stuff, because of my eyesight combined with those irons on that gun being very limited at best. We're going to shoot a 5-shot group at 50 yards to get some practical accuracy numbers out of them for what I'm going to run this rifle for anyway, and my capabilities with those irons. And then we'll take 3 shots out at 100 yards just to see what I can do. I don't know how good it's going to be or where it's going to hit. Never shot that rifle at 100, but figured we'll see what happens. And then, of course, I've got the ballistics gel over here as well we'll take a shot into and see what we got for terminal performance. So should be a rather well-rounded test to see what this combo is capable of. So first up, let's get some accuracy. We'll start with our 5-shot group at 50. We'll give the rifle a couple minutes to cool off. Then we'll take 3 more shots at 100 and see how it performs. Okay, so quick velocity run through before we look at our targets. Boss claim is 2685, and I believe we were bouncing all over that number. So even with a almost shot out barrel, we're still getting good velocities. We had a high of 2721, a low of 2673. That gave us an average of 2697. So we're actually 12 feet per second above the boss claim, but overall, we're sitting exactly where we should be with an extreme spread of 48 and a standard deviation of 16. So at an average of 2697, here is your muzzle energy for 150 grain bullet at that number. Obviously, it's going to do anything you'd want it to do, no question about it, so long as the bullet actually performs on the terminal side of things, and it's an interlock bullet, so it should be just fine. So no concerns for me for velocity, but let's check out our accuracy. All right, so let's have a look at some accuracy results because I think it's pretty solid overall for what that rifle actually is. Once again, it's a perfectly adequate deer hunting gun at this point. These weren't supposed to be precision rifles in the grand scheme of things anyway. 2 to 3 inch groups, pretty common out of these for a decent shooting one. I mean, we're right there in it, even out as we get to our 100-yard target here in a second. But we'll start here at 50. This was a 5-shot group. Obviously, with both 50 and 100 yards, we're hitting a little low and left. That has been a little bit of a trend with that rifle. There's not a ton you can do to really adjust the sights on it, so you kind of got to learn where it shoots a little bit. I think I could probably bring the point of impact up a little, but as far as left and right windage goes, kind of going to be on me at that point. But we've got all 5 shots pretty much in a line right down here at the bottom left. We've got 2 just about touching, and then these 3 created one kind of oblong hole up here at the top. So who knows, if somebody had a little better eyesight than me, or I had more experience behind that rifle, you probably could have squeezed a little more out of it, but that's perfectly adequate for 50 yards still. Those 5 shots are sitting right at 1.58 inches, so 1.5 inches of spread at 50, perfectly adequate there. But now moving out here to our 100-yard target, I just wanted to see what we could do if we put it on target at 100. I've never taken any shots at all out of that gun at 100 yards to see where it even hits or how accurate it can be. But I figured, hey, we'll do it today and see what happens. I don't have a ton of those rounds and they're not easy to find. Thus why I decided to go 3 shots at 100 just to see what it'll do. We're still hitting low and left. We've got all 3 of our bullets kind of right down here at the bottom left corner of the target. There's one just below it, one in the center of that logo, and one on the right edge of that logo. So 3 right there in kind of a triangle, but that is still a perfectly solid group. That's 100 yards, having never shot that gun at this distance, with the most rudimentary iron sights you can think of, and my very bottom end of average eyesight. I'll take that all day long. If we could adjust our sights and center that up, that's a deer hunting combination, even out to 100. And even all the way out here, it's 1.68 inches worth of group from the farthest 2 center to center parts on the 2 bullet holes over there on the left. So still a little over 1.5 inches at 100 for those 3 shots. Tells us we probably could have squeezed a little more out of it at 50 as well. But once again, that rifle shoots surprisingly well for how worn out it is, and even just for an Enfield in general. They're not known to be precision rigs. Like I said earlier, 2-3 inch groups, pretty common. And I mean, 1.5 inches at 100, I'll take that, no question about it. All right, well, we just had a little bit of a sprinkle passing shower. Now it's really humid and really bright out, but that should give us a good view on what these can do as far as terminal performance goes in the gel blocks. I expect pretty much perfect expansion and penetration and stuff out of these. I don't foresee us having any problems, but let's see what kind of wound channel we can actually get. These are 2 16-inch blocks of 10% clear ballistics gel. They are a little bit cloudy. They got a little bit of fiber and stuff in them from clothing since we've been testing them all summer long, but this will be perfect for these shotgun and rifle tests and stuff. We can still see everything we need to see, and we're not worried about destroying the blocks. The slow-mo might throw a good bit of water up off of them, make for a pretty interesting shot there, but I'm going to walk it back to about 30 yards. That way I can hopefully get a pretty decent centered up hit since we are hitting low left. We'll put a round in here and see what it actually does. All right, so chronograph reading for that shot was right at 2,700 feet per second. So we can utilize that to calculate some energy numbers here in just a minute when we pull this bullet out of the gel. But as far as our gel blocks go, we're left with 1 on the table and the other one launched way back here off the back end out into the grass, and I can already tell you that is a nasty looking wound track. So let me bring that one back up. We'll get it back lined up here on the table where it started at, because we do indeed have a bullet captured right down here. Okay, now we got everything set back up and we can see what's going on here. Blocks are a little bit dirty, but this made an absolute mess in the block up here in the front as well. Came in and created a nasty wound track right there. Pretty quick on into the gel. Anywhere from kind of the 2-inch mark all the way out to about the 9-inch mark is a just big cavity. We'll get a better look at the other side of the block here in just a second, but the bullet tracked on and on and on all the way out until it stopped right about the 28-inch mark with a little bit of spring back, and it expanded out pretty heavily. And I actually think it tried to come apart some here in the gel as well. You can see our entry there and how quickly that opened up. I wish the blocks were a little cleaner, but that's why we're doing these with shotgun and rifle test, because they do make such a mess in the block and you can really see it there. That track came in, opened up very quickly. It looks like it splintered off into several different little lead fragment pieces right there as well, right about that 8-9 inch mark like we were looking at on the other side. And that track carries on out until we have a big mushroom bullet right down here at the end of the block. So we captured everything. Obviously, that is devastating performance in the gel, just like we expected to see. I didn't expect any less out of it. That's about what I thought. So now I'll pull that bullet out of the block. We can measure it, weigh it. We can see if it actually did fragment and leave some of these pieces like I think we might have up here. So let's get a better look at that bullet. All right, so now we're in here on the bench and we have our bullet right here pulled out of the gel. And yeah, just like we suspected, it opened up massively, about as far back as you could peel it. And I do believe we lost a little bit of material in the block as well. There was a number of flakes of lead and stuff that came off of this. I mean, if we look, it tore the back end of the jacket apart pretty heavily. So we lost a little bit of jacket, a little bit of lead, but we still have a good mushroomed out base core area to that left. I mean, that is just beautiful looking until you get to the back end of it anyway. And remember, that is what we started life as. Little soft point lead tipped bullet. And that is where we ended up. So just like we suspected, it looks perfectly fine, although you don't retain 100% of your weight overall. But you've got the terminal performance to back it up though. Nasty wound channel, plenty of penetration, so it did its job. As far as expansion goes, on the farthest 2 points across on that bullet, we're sitting at right at 0.625. So it definitely about doubled in size overall from where it started. And as far as the weight goes, these are supposed to be 150, and we're now at 106.6 or thereabout. So we did indeed lose about 45-ish grains worth of weight overall. But the InterLock bullet did what the InterLock bullet has typically always done for me. Never hunted with them in 303, but I have hunted with the 165 grainers in 308, and this is very much typical performance for them overall. So after looking at it up close here, obviously not 100% weight retention, not really what these interlocks are designed to do, but like I just said, very much typical performance. I did calculate the energy as well that we had, or at least the muzzle energy for this particular shot. We had 2,700 feet per second at the muzzle through the chrono with a 150 grain bullet. That's 2,428 foot-pounds. Obviously, yet again, it's going to do anything you'd want it to do. If you'd hunt something with a 308, this 303 really isn't all that far behind it as far as the numbers go, and you've clearly got the terminal performance in the gel to back it up as well. So it is absolutely going to be capable of doing what you want to do with it. All right, well, what do we think about the performance here overall? I don't think there's much not to like. We saw that we can get 1.5 inches at 50 yards, and we carried that out to 3 shots at 100 as well. So they are perfectly adequate as far as accuracy goes from that old gun that is on the ragged edge of being worn out. 120 years old, probably has tens of thousands of shots through it at minimum, I would imagine, and it's still puts them right where you want them to be. I may have to adjust my sight a little bit if I can, but no big deal there. Kind of is what it is. And terminal performance wise, it's nasty looking. Just like we all expected, I've never had an issue with the interlock bullets. I've taken a number of deer with them in 308 over the years. They always do the job perfectly fine. So not much to dislike about this combination. Might not be fancy, and the rifle might have been hacked up quite a bit, but somebody made it into something that they could use, and it was probably pretty dirt cheap at the time they did it. May not be pretty, but it certainly will do the job. So let me know all your thoughts about it down below. Is that about what you expected? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Do you have an old Enfield, or have you tested any of these 303 Hornady Custom loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is this a combo you would ever actually take out deer hunting or do anything else with? And maybe let me know some other stuff you might want to see us try with that rifle, whether it be hunting or different loads or more gel testing or anything like that. Let me know what you guys might want to see. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, you have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.